Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. This woman isn't alone. No matter what the world tries to whisper, no matter who left her, no matter how dark the valley got, heaven has never, not for 1 second, walked away from her side. She may have cried in silence. She may have felt like her prayers were bouncing off the ceiling. But just because she couldn't see God working, didn't mean he wasn't. Some of the greatest miracles happen when no one's looking. She's walked through fire and didn't burn. She's walked through storms and didn't drown. You know why? Because heaven walks beside her. And when heaven walks with you, no man, no weapon, no fear, no failure can stop you. She's not weak. She's war-tested. When people said she wasn't enough, heaven whispered, "You are mine." When the pain got too loud, grace stepped in and covered her. She's been pushed, doubted, betrayed, but still she rises. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's purpose. That's divine favor. That's heaven doing what only heaven can do. Some may see just a woman, but heaven sees a warrior, a fighter, a daughter with destiny in her bones. That's why the enemy tried so hard to break her. Because if she ever understood the power she carries, if she ever realized angels walk with her, oh, it's over. She walks through chaos with peace in her soul. She stands in the storm like it's a summer breeze. She's not just surviving. She's covered. Father now. And every step she takes is guided by hands greater than this world. So the next time doubt comes knocking, remind her who she walks with. The next time loneliness creeps in, remind her who never left her. Because heaven isn't far. It's walking beside her, step by step, breath by breath. She is not alone, and she never was. There are moments in life when the silence feels louder than words, when prayers seem to vanish into thin air, and when the weight of loneliness sits heavily on the soul. In those moments, it's easy to feel forgotten, abandoned, or unseen. But feelings aren't always facts. The truth that carries more power than emotion is this: the divine presence never leaves you. It doesn't fade when your faith wavers. It doesn't walk away when others do, and it doesn't retreat when life gets dark. God's presence is not a temporary shelter. It is a permanent covering. Even in the places where it seems he is absent, he is intimately near. You may not hear a loud voice from heaven, but every heartbeat is proof of his hand on your life. You may not see a burning bush or a parting sea, but the quiet strength that helps you rise each day is a whisper of his presence. In the stillness, he is speaking. In the silence, he is working. And in your pain, he is holding you together. There has never been a step you've taken that he didn't oversee. Never a tear you've cried that he didn't collect. Never a night so long that he didn't light a fire of hope deep within your spirit. The divine presence is not just beside you, it is within you. It's easy to trust God when life is smooth. But his presence isn't proven in peace, it's proven in pressure. When everything is stripped away and you're standing in the ruins of what you once hoped for, that's when his presence is the most powerful. You find him not only in the miracle, but also in the mess. He's not just the God of mountaintops. He's the God of deep valleys. When everyone else turns their back, he leans in closer. When the world grows quiet, he starts speaking louder in your spirit. That still small voice you hear in your deepest despair, that's not your imagination. That's your creator reminding you, I am still here. You might have walked through seasons of betrayal, disappointment, sickness, or failure. And maybe in those seasons, you questioned whether God had left you. But the truth is, he didn't. In fact, those were the moments when he was carrying you the most. You made it through not because of your own strength, but because his strength never stopped covering you. His presence doesn't need a spotlight to be real. It doesn't require your perfection to remain. It stays in your doubts, your questions, your fears, and even your anger. His presence isn't fragile. It's not offended by your emotions or your struggles. It doesn't demand performance. It only desires your heart. Divine presence isn't just a feeling, it's a fact. Feelings come and go, but God's presence is eternal. You might not always feel it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. The air you breathe is invisible, but it's keeping you alive. In the same way, his presence is the unseen force holding you together. It's the peace that makes no sense. It's the comfort that arrives when no one else understands. It's the courage that rises when you're terrified. It's the faith that grows when everything around you crumbles. His presence is the reason you're still here. Not because you had all the answers, but because he never let go. There's a reason some things didn't destroy you. There's a reason you made it out of situations that should have broken you. It's not because you were lucky. It's because God was with you. Every time the enemy tried to isolate you, God intervened. Every time your heart was breaking, he was right there catching the pieces. You may not have seen him with your eyes, but your survival is the evidence of his nearness. You didn't just make it through on your own. You were carried by the presence of the one who never leaves. Even when you walked away, he followed. Even when you gave up on yourself, he still called you chosen. Even when you felt too dirty, too broken, too far gone, he stayed. That's the nature of divine presence. It doesn't operate by human standards, not conditional. It's not earned. It's relentless, loyal, and everlasting. You don't have to earn God's nearness. You just have to remember it. You just have to return to the truth that he never left in the first place. When you quiet the noise and open your heart, you will feel the truth rising again. He is still here. This presence goes before you, walks beside you, and covers behind you. It shields you from things you didn't even know were trying to harm you. It's the reason you sleep in peace, even in storms. It's the reason you smile, even with a broken heart. The divine presence doesn't promise you won't face hard times, but it does promise that you will never face them alone. It's the promise that no matter what's taken from you, what's done to you, or what's lost along the way, he remains. His presence becomes your refuge, your shield, your sanity, your anchor. In a world that's constantly changing, his presence is the only constant. People will come and go. Seasons will rise and fall. Circumstances will shift, but he stays. Through every transition, every heartbreak, every success, and every setback, he stays. That's what makes divine presence different from anything else. It's not circumstantial. It's not temporary. It's eternal. And it's personal. It doesn't just show up in holy places or sacred spaces. It shows up in hospital rooms, courtroom benches, silent car rides, and tear-soaked pillows. It shows up in traffic and confusion, in the wilderness, and in the middle of your breakdown. You don't have to chase his presence. You just have to recognize it. You just have to make room for the awareness that he's already near. Sometimes that awareness is the breakthrough you need. Not a change of situation, but a change of perception. The realization that you've never been alone gives you the strength to keep moving forward. It gives you the courage to take one more step, speak one more truth, breathe one more prayer. Because he is walking with you, he is sitting with you, he is covering you with love you can't even comprehend. When your voice trembles in prayer, he leans in closer. When your soul cries out in silence, he hears the language of your tears. When you have nothing left to give, his presence gives you everything you need. He restores you when you're empty. He lifts you when you fall. He holds you when you're shattered. You are never without him. Not in the valley, not in the storm, not in your question, and not in your quiet moments of surrender. The divine presence never leaves you. JPT said, pain is often misunderstood. When it strikes, it feels like punishment, like isolation, like rejection from life itself. It cuts deeply and silently whispers lies that say you've been forgotten, left behind, or somehow unworthy of peace. But the truth is, pain does not equal abandonment. The presence of pain is not the absence of God. In fact, many times it's within the very center of your suffering that divine love is doing its deepest work. Pain can feel like a prison, but it's often the process that leads to purpose. It may appear as if you've been forsaken, but what if the pain is actually proof that you are being formed? When everything is stripped away, comfort, familiarity, even the people you thought would always be there, what remains is the raw, honest space where transformation begins. Pain doesn't come to define you, it comes to refine you. It reveals what's real, it shakes what's unstable. It burns away what cannot remain. And in the middle of all that, it can feel like you've been left to walk alone. But look again. Sometimes what feels like abandonment is actually divine strategy, creating the silence where God speaks loudest. There are moments when prayers go unanswered, doors remain closed, and time moves slowly. The temptation in those moments is to believe that you've been disqualified or overlooked. But the truth is, waiting seasons are often preparation season. Pain does not disqualify you from God's presence. It often draws him closer. Scripture shows us time and again, the brokenhearted are the ones he draws near to. The ones in the furnace are the ones he walks with. The ones in the wilderness are the ones he speaks to. If you are hurting, you are not forsaken. You are being held, carried, and shaped in ways that eyes cannot see and minds cannot understand. Your pain is not evidence of abandonment. It is the soil of transformation. It's where faith grows legs. It's where hope learns to breathe. It's where trust learns to stretch. Anyone can believe when life is easy, but when your heart is shattered, when your world is flipped, and you still whisper, I believe through the tears, that's when faith becomes real. That's when intimacy with God becomes unshakable. Not because you feel him more clearly, but because you choose him more deeply. There's a holy tension in pain. It doesn't feel sacred, but it opens sacred spaces in the soul. It teaches compassion. It births wisdom. It removes the shallow and makes room for the eternal. In those moments where you want to run, when you want to give up, when you want to scream, where are you, God? Those are the moments when the refining fire is working. The pain is not punishment. It's not proof that you've been abandoned. It's proof that you're still alive, still growing, still on the journey of becoming who you were always meant to be. Pain will convince you that you are alone, but loneliness and being alone are not the same. You may feel alone, but you are never truly abandoned. The very breath in your lungs is a reminder that God is not done with you. That struggle you're facing, it has a finish line. That heartache you're carrying, it will not last forever. But what it will do is develop you. It will mature you. It will build something in you that comfort never could. And when you come out on the other side, you won't just survive. You'll walk with a strength and depth that couldn't be taught in the absence of suffering. Pain has a way of exposing your limits while revealing God's limitless grace. It humbles you, yes, but it also anchors you. It reminds you of your dependence, not on people, not on status, not on circumstance, but on a power greater than you. And it's in that space that something sacred happens. You realize that even in your weakness, you are never outside of love's reach. That even when you feel like everything is falling apart, something greater is holding you together. That kind of revelation doesn't come when life is smooth. It's born in the storm. Pain doesn't mean God has turned his face from you. It may actually mean he's looking at you more intently than ever. Because some lessons can only be learned in the valley. Some healing can only begin when everything else is stripped away. Some truths only make sense when your heart has been through enough to understand them. You are not abandoned. You are being prepared. Pain doesn't indicate distance. It often signals intimacy. It's the place where pride is broken, ego is surrendered, and your true self is found. If you've been through pain and kept going, that's not weakness. It's resilience. It's divine strength clothed in human fragility. You may cry, you may fall, you may question everything, but if you still choose to stand, to rise, to believe, that is power. That is faith. That is heaven standing with you even when you can't feel it. Pain will not last forever, but what it produces in you can last for a lifetime. Endurance, wisdom, compassion, gratitude, depth. These things are forged in the fire, not the easy road. Sometimes pain is the only thing that gets our attention. Sometimes it's the thing that brings us back to what really matters. And while we would never ask for it, we can still find meaning in it. Pain is a teacher. It shows us what we've outgrown. It separates what's temporary from what's eternal. It invites us to surrender, not as defeat, but as a deeper trust. Trust that even though you don't understand, you are still being held. Trust that your story is not over. Trust that your tears are seen and collected by a God who cares more than you can imagine. There's a sacredness to the pain you carry. It may not be visible to the world, but heaven sees it. Heaven honors it, and heaven uses it. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. No tear, no heartbreak, no silent night, no desperate prayer is overlooked. You are not being punished. You are being positioned for growth, for clarity, for breakthrough. And sometimes the evidence of that positioning is the very pain you feel. You can be in pain and still be loved. You can be confused and still be called. You can be broken and still be valuable. You can be grieving and still be growing. Don't let the ache convince you that you've been abandoned. The opposite may be true. You are right where you need to be, even if it doesn't feel like it. Feelings come and go, but the truth remains. God is with you, not just in theory, but in reality. Not just when things are good, but especially when they're not. You're allowed to feel the weight of it. You're allowed to question, to wrestle, to weep. But do not mistake silence for absence. Do not mistake pain for punishment. You are seen. You are loved. You are being shaped in ways your future self will thank you for. The pain is not the end, it's the process. And though it may not feel like it now, one day you'll look back and see that even in the pain, you were never abandoned. There is something powerful about being chosen. It means you were not random, not overlooked, not forgotten in the shuffle of the world. It means someone looked directly at you and saw something of value, something worth investing in, something worth protecting. To be chosen by people is a gift, but to be chosen by God is a calling. It isn't earned and it doesn't expire. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, you were known. Before you ever made a decision, before you took your first breath, there was a plan for your life. You were set apart, not for comfort, but for impact. Not for ease, but for endurance. Not to hide in the background, but to carry a light in dark places. That is what it means to be chosen. Being chosen doesn't always feel like a blessing. Sometimes it feels like isolation. Sometimes it looks like rejection. But what feels like being pushed aside by people is often being set apart by God. The path of the chosen isn't always wide and popular. It's narrow, refined, and requires trust in unseen things. It may come with seasons of silence, of being misunderstood, of walking alone. But in all of it, you are covered. Doesn't mean exempt from pain. It means protected in it. It means there is a hand over your life that won't let what's meant to destroy you succeed. You may bend, but you will not break. You may stumble, but you will not be crushed. Because the covering of God is not fragile. It is firm, faithful, and unshakable. You don't have to earn this covering. It's not a reward for good behavior. It's the inheritance of the chosen. When you know you are chosen, you begin to walk differently. You stop chasing the approval of people who never had the authority to define your worth. You stop explaining your anointing to those who are too wounded to see their own. You stop shrinking to fit places that cannot contain the fullness of who you were created to be. Being chosen means you were called for something that's not dependent on your performance. It's not based on popularity, perfection, or public validation. It's a divine assignment, a holy appointment, and no amount of opposition can cancel what heaven has spoken over you. You might have scars, you might have regrets, you might have chapters in your story that you wish never happened. But none of those things disqualify you from being chosen. In fact, they are often the very places God uses to reveal his power. The world chooses based on image. God chooses based on intention. He doesn't look at the outer shell. He looks at the heart. He sees through your brokenness and still calls you valuable. He sees your weakness and still chooses you to carry strength. You are not just selected. You are sealed. Your life is marked by grace that doesn't make sense. Protection you didn't earn. Favor you can't explain. Sometimes being chosen means you walk through things others never had to. It means you carry burdens others don't understand. But with every burden comes an equal measure of covering. God will never call you to a place where his presence cannot sustain you. He will never require more from you than he's willing to pour into you. When you are chosen, heaven backs you. You don't need the crowd. You don't need the spotlight. You don't need the applause. What you need is already within you. The spirit of the one who called you, equipped you, and covers you. That's the truth you must return to when doubt comes. When fear whispers, when insecurity rises, you are covered. Covered in grace when you fail. Covered in strength when you feel weak. Covered in wisdom when you don't have answers. Covered in peace when the storm is raging. The covering doesn't prevent life from happening, but it does ensure that what happens won't take you out. You've made it through things you shouldn't have. You've survived what was meant to break you. That wasn't coincidence. That was covering. Some of the battles you never saw were fought and won before you even knew they existed. Some of the doors that didn't open were not rejection. They were protection. When you know you're covered, you stop chasing what isn't yours. You stop comparing your path to others. You learn to trust the process, even when it's slow, even when it hurts, even when it's unclear. The weight of being chosen is real. But so is the strength that comes with it. You're not chosen to impress the world. You're chosen to impact it. You're chosen to bring light into places that forgot what light feels like. You're chosen to be a voice when others stay silent. You're chosen to carry love where hate once ruled. And because of that, opposition will come. Attacks will come. Resistance will come. But you don't need to be afraid because your covering is not passive. It's powerful. It walks with you, surrounds you, goes before you and behind you. You're not walking. You're walking under the banner of divine authority. You are chosen to rise, even when everything around you tells you to sit down. You are chosen to build, even when it seems like everything is falling apart. You are chosen to love, even when it hurts. You are chosen to forgive, even when it's unfair. And for that, you will be misunderstood. But don't let misunderstanding make you doubt your calling. Don't let pain make you question your worth. You are chosen by the one who sees every broken place and still says, this one, I want this one. You're covered not because you're perfect, but because you are purpose. And purpose always comes with provision. You have a fire inside of you that didn't come from this world, and this world can't put it out. That fire was placed by the one who chose you. That fire is your reminder that even when you feel forgotten, you're still covered. Even when you feel small, you're still significant. Even when you feel empty, you're still equipped. You may walk through fire, but it won't consume you. You may face floods, but they won't drown you. Because being chosen and covered means your life is in hands bigger than your fear, hands stronger than your circumstances, hands steadier than your emotions. No matter where you've been, what you've done, or what you're facing, you are still chosen, still called, still covered. Not because of anything you've done, but because of who he is. His love doesn't wear off. His grace doesn't run dry. His calling doesn't get revoked. The covering remains. And when you know that, you start to live differently. You speak with boldness, even in broken places. You move forward, even when the way isn't clear. You love deeply, even when you've been hurt. You keep showing up, not because life is easy, but because you're chosen to rise anyway. You are not random. You are not an accident. You are not overlooked. You are chosen by name, called by purpose, covered by power, and nothing, no failure, no opinion, no detour can take that away from you. ChatGPT said, every step you take, seen or unseen, is watched over. In the quiet moments when no one is clapping for you, when no one notices the tears you wipe in the dark, when your strength is holding by a thread, your walk is still under divine surveillance. You are not wandering aimlessly through life, even if it feels that way at times. There is a purpose to your journey. And more importantly, there is a presence walking with you through it. You are not left to figure it all out on your own. You're not exposed to the elements without covering. There's a watchful eye on your path, not to control you, but to guide you, protect you, and lead you into something greater than what you see in front of you. Life can feel like a maze full of choices, obstacles, distractions, and setbacks. You can lose your way trying to make sense of it all. You can lose people. You can lose hope, but you never lose divine attention. There is never a moment when heaven blinks. Not when you make mistakes, not when you fall, not when you choose the wrong turn. Even in your wandering, you are watched over. That doesn't mean every step will be easy or every path will be smooth. It means even in your rough terrain, you are not walking alone. You are being guided through what you do not understand, and your outcome is not left up to chance. When you were created, it wasn't just your birth that was planned. It was your journey. Every mountain, every valley, every detour, and every breakthrough was already known. And even though you can't see the full map, the one who walks with you knows every road. He watches with love, not judgment. He watches with care, not condemnation. When you slip, he doesn't abandon you. He steadies you. When you hesitate, he doesn't shame you. He gives you grace to try again. There's a constant covering, not just around your victories, but especially around your battles. Some of the greatest miracles in your life are the ones you'll never even know about. The accidents that didn't happen, the dangers you were rerouted from, the doors that were shut to protect you, not punish you. You may not understand it in the moment, but your path is under a watchful hand. And that hand is more powerful than every enemy, every lie, every fear, and every mistake that tries to stop you. You don't have to see it to believe it. You just have to trust that your walk, even when it feels aimless, is being guided by something higher than your logic. There's a reason you survived what others didn't. There's a reason you keep getting up when life keeps knocking you down. You're not moving by coincidence. You're moving under covering. Sometimes that covering shows up as protection. Sometimes it shows up as closed doors. Sometimes it looks like delay, but all of it is part of the walk being watched over. You are not invisible. Your prayers don't vanish into thin air. Your cries are not unheard. There's attention on you, not from people, but from the one whose opinion matters most. Even when you walk through shadows, through loss, through confusion, through seasons where nothing makes sense, your steps are counted. Your heart is seen. Your burdens are known. You are not walking through the dark alone. There is a presence with you that never leaves. It doesn't leave when you mess up. It doesn't leave when you question everything. It doesn't leave when your faith shakes. The walk of faith is not about perfection. It's about connection. It's about trusting that even when the path seems wrong, the guide is still right. When you know your walk is watched over, you begin to carry yourself differently. You stop needing everyone's validation. You stop living for likes and applause. You begin to walk with quiet confidence because you know someone greater than you has already prepared the path. You start to realize that closed doors are not rejections, they're redirections. That slow seasons are not punishments, they're preparation. That hidden moments are not wasted, they're sacred. You don't have to force things to happen. You don't have to chase what isn't meant for you. You simply keep walking, knowing that the one who watches over you will bring what's meant to be into your life at the right time. There's freedom in knowing your journey is under divine watch. It means you can rest even while walking. You can move even without full clarity. You can trust even in the mystery. It doesn't mean there won't be storms. It just means the storm won't be the final word. It doesn't mean you won't feel afraid. It means fear won't drive your step. Your walk is part of a story that's unfolding chapter by chapter, and even the pages that don't make sense have a reason. Every step, even the backward ones, are being redeemed. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. You don't have to have all the answers to keep walking. You just need to know that you're not walking alone. There's grace for the pace, strength for the stumble, mercy for the misstep. There is protection you didn't see, battles you didn't have to fight, and favor you didn't earn, all because your walk is watched over. You are not overlooked. You are not exposed. You are not out of reach. Your journey is in the hands of the one who created the stars and still knows your name. Sometimes the path will lead through pain, through heartbreak, through waiting, but even there, your walk is covered. The same God who watched over you when you were winning is the same God who watches over you when you're weeping. He doesn't walk away when life gets heavy. He steps in closer. He guards your heart when it's breaking. He lifts your spirit when it's weary. He leads you through the valley and doesn't leave you there. Your walk isn't easy, but it's not empty either. It's filled with purpose, with grace, with unseen miracles. You may not know what's next, but you know who's watching, and that's enough. You can face the unknown with courage, not because you're fearless, but because you're covered. You can take the next step without knowing the destination because you trust the direction. And every step you take in faith is a declaration that you believe your journey is not random, your pain is not wasted, and your walk is not unnoticed. Keep walking, even when it's slow, even when you don't see the full picture. You are watched over, guided, and surrounded. And every step is one step closer to what was prepared for you all along. Through every valley, every storm, every moment of doubt or silence, this truth remains unshaken. You are not alone. You are not forgotten, and your journey is not without purpose. You are chosen by God, covered by His grace, and your every step is watched over by a divine presence that never sleeps. The pain you've walked through did not mean abandonment. It meant preparation. The challenges you endured were not signs of weakness. They were stages of becoming. And even when you didn't feel it, even when you couldn't see it, heaven was moving on your behalf. You were never walking in the dark without direction. You were walking in faith under the guidance of the one who called you by name. So keep walking, knowing that you were divinely assigned, eternally covered, and fiercely protected. Your story isn't finished. Your calling isn't canceled. Your light still has a place to shine. Well,